Every summer, there's always a new list of trends that we're suddenly supposed to wear, and while I love keeping up with fashion, as we all know, not all trends are worth buying into. So in this episode, I want to talk about the 10 trends I'm actually loving this summer and that I think would be worth the investment if you're looking to refresh your wardrobe for 2025. Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Marie and I'm a stylist and content creator who's all about making fashion make sense. And these are the anti-trends that still feel super fresh and current for this season, but won't be outdated in like a month. They're showing up in street styles, on the runways, and on celebrities. But most importantly, they're versatile, they're wearable, and I feel like they actually make sense in a real wardrobe. So the first anti-trend trend that I want to dive into is bucket bags. And I feel like they're the perfect example of a trend that feels fresh again while still being completely timeless. The appeal for me with these bucket bags really come down to the shape. It has that soft and structured feel that holds so much more than a regular shoulder bag or a mini clutch, but it still feels really polished and compact. I personally wear mine to casual iced coffee runs, but also more elevated dinners because I feel like it adds that relaxed but slightly architectural feel without being too boxy or feel too overly trendy. And this season we're seeing everything from mini bucket bags, mid-size, and also really large ones. I actually want to show you the bucket bag that I have been reaching for a lot lately, and it's the T Ching butterfly bucket bag, and this one is in the large size. T Ching is a Chinese brand that focuses on handcrafted leather bags and accessories. They're known for their timeless and elegant designs, and they've also so kindly offered to sponsor this video, so thank you so much to T Ching. The shape of this bag is really soft, but still structured enough to feel polished, and I really like that it's not too heavy or stiff. The leather is this top grain Togo cowhide, so it's super soft to the touch, but also holds up really well for daily use. It's super versatile and easy to carry. You can wear it as a classic bucket bag or change the shape to turn it into a shoulder bag, and you can actually wear it from all four sides. There's an exterior pocket for small things that you need to reach quickly, and it comes with a detachable inner bag, which is lined with this floral and butterfly styled embroidery, and that you can use on its own or to always have your things on hand when switching between bags. It is definitely super roomy and fits everything that I need, including an iPad mini and even an umbrella. As I mentioned earlier, I usually wear mine casually, but also to a little bit more dressed up events without ever feeling out of place. But this collection also comes in different sizes, so you can definitely pick the one that suits your lifestyle the best. And if you're detail obsessed like me, you'll notice the hand-stitched wax thread detailing, which is actually stronger than machine stitching and gives the whole bag that high-end finish. The hardware is really beautiful too. It's made from natural white mother of pearl inlaid in real 24K gold-plated stainless steel. I'll leave the link below if you want to take a closer look, including my 10% off discount code, which I will also pop up on the screen somewhere. For me, this is one of those bags that feel really elevated but still super practical, and it's something that I can wear with linen looks in the summer, but also with knits and trench coats in the fall. Across celebrity street styles where I have seen bucket bags being used, I feel like it's a return of a quiet, really functional bag that doesn't scream for attention, but still finishes off the outfit in a really polished way. And how I personally like to style it is with elevated basics, so I think a bucket bag looks great with linen trousers, a button-down shirt, or a monochrome set. It is the perfect bag for vacation because it can hold so many things like your sunglasses, lip balm, even a small camera. The bucket bag shape has really been around for decades, but what makes it feel really current now is how it's styled. I feel like this season's version is much more clean and minimal, no excessive hardware and just enough structure. And unlike summer bags that are entirely made of seasonal materials like the straw bag, for example, a bucket bag with a smooth leather texture is something that you can carry well into fall with your trench coats, for example, which makes it a super smart investment in my opinion. Then we have minimalist sandals, especially strappy sandals, and kitten heels, which is like the quiet luxury shoe trend of 2025. I feel like it's clean, chic, and effortlessly timeless. Last year, flip-flops was trending, which I honestly find kind of funny, but this year we're seeing more like elevated versions of that. We're definitely seeing this shift away from heavy, chunky platforms to sleek, barely there sandals. Think thin ankle straps, soft leathers, simple silhouettes, nothing that is too out there or too loud. Kitten heels, especially the flip-flop or the slingback version, are really having its moment as the go-to comfortable elevated shoe. I personally wouldn't say that the kitten heel heel is super comfy, but they can definitely be comfier than other kinds of heels because heels in general aren't that comfortable. And the kitten heel for me is kind of acceptable. Kylie Jenner has been spotted at beach clubs and dinner parties in this super sleek minimalist heel. Lots of celebs in general have been styling them with soft fabrics, silks, and slip dresses, with maxi or midi skirts, tailored trousers, and even capris. The clean lines of the shoe really works with anything. It's understated and wearable and won't overpower your outfit. This is also a great vacation shoe, so if you're packing for a summer travel, this is the shoe that literally takes up no space, doesn't weigh anything, and will go with all of your looks. I also really love how easy it is to participate in this trend. Like, you really don't have to go for a known brand or something flashy. There's so many options out there within all different price ranges, so you can definitely find something super cute and look super elevated without having to spend a lot of money. Then continuing with shoes, we have the Mary Jane shoe and the mesh flats. I feel like these shoes tap into that grown-up romantic dressing, I would say. They're bright with a soft feminine detail and vibe, but still have some structure to it. I really like how feminine and light they feel without being overly girly. Stylistically, the Mary Jane shoe especially, which has been around for a while, carry references to school uniforms, 90s Prada, Audrey Hepburn, but it doesn't have to feel super vintage or throwback if it's styled well. I feel like they're definitely super simple tweaks that you can do to make the Mary Jane feel a little bit more current for 2025. The mesh flats definitely lean more trendy, but I do really feel like they have a timeless appeal to them, but that might just be my personal opinion, but they have been around for a while. I remember reporting on these kind of shoes in my trend reports over on TikTok, like way back in the day. I think like I would like to say 2 to 3 years ago. And I feel like now they've really become more of a normalized summer staple. They're subtle but unexpected, kind of like the sheer fabric trend that also started emerging a few years back. Dakota Johnson wore mesh flats with a breezy white skirt, and the Mary Jane flat has literally been spotted everywhere at this point. But they have also started to evolving into a hybrid with sneakers. Jennifer Lawrence, for example, wore Mary Jane sneakers. So I feel like if you've been a Mary Jane wearer for the past couple of summers, there are new fun ways to put a twist on that if you want to refresh your style a little bit. I personally will probably just stick to the traditional Mary Jane flat, but the sneaker variation could be super fun if you have a more sporty style and like to stay super comfortable and functional. They can really give it structure and elevate a casual look, but also soften the more tailored ones. So for the next trend, we're going to leave accessories and shoes for a while and move into actual clothing. And for this one, I want to talk about drop waist dresses. And after starting wearing them myself, I feel like they're actually one of the most wearable statement silhouettes that are trending right now. It could be because I naturally have a bit of a shorter torso, so I kind of like the elongated waist look on me. So instead of cinching at the natural waist, the waist drops a little bit lower, creating a bit of a looser, elongated torso. It's a silhouette that feels a little bit unexpected, but not impractical or super out there. It doesn't cling, it doesn't require any shapewear, and it kind of gives off this breezy vintage elegance that I feel like is super cute for summer. It's a really approachable trend for someone who doesn't like things that are super fitted, but still want to add a little bit of shape to their figure. Sabrina Carpenter has worn several drop waist mini dresses on stage and in editorial shoots. Kendall Jenner was recently spotted in one, and Olivia Rodrigo wore a plaid drop waist silhouette that of course leaned a bit more grunge and schoolgirl because that's her vibe. But this really shows how versatile this shape can be. I really like trends that aren't super specific to one certain item, but that can be adapted to different styles and aesthetics so that you can really tailor it to your personal style. Miu Miu has also leaned into drop waist styles this season, which is proof that it's also moving into designer territory again. As we saw at Style and Celebrities, it works beautifully with a minimal shoe. If the dress is a bit more voluminous, which it often is in this kind of silhouette, you can balance it out with something structured like a shoulder bag or a sleek bun, for example. But the dress does really have a lot of shape already, so you don't have to work with overly bold or heavy accessorizing. Just a good shoe, a cute earring, and you're basically good to go. This kind of silhouette has always cycled in and out through fashion history, and it really tends to stick around. It's one of those styles that feel a little bit fashion forward forward and new and refreshing, but still incredibly versatile in real life. Then moving on to anti-trend number 5, which is white lace, especially in midi and maxi skirts variations. They are showing up everywhere this summer season, and I feel like it's the perfect mix of soft, classic, romantic, and a little bit of texture, which is exactly how I want to dress and feel this summer. They're really tapping into that hyper feminine moment we're seeing everywhere in fashion right now, which is not unusual for the summer season, but this feels a little bit more grounded in timelessness just because lace is a texture that never really goes out of style. It's kind of like florals where you just wear it every summer, and there's just something that's both so nostalgic but also super fresh about them. Last year, white midi maxi skirts were basically everywhere, and this just feels like a natural next step. A little bit more detailed, still feminine, still super polished and classic. It's delicate but still super versatile, which makes it such a strong anti-trend for me. Some are full lace with lining, which is the variation I typically wear the most, but there are others that lean a bit more sheer, which definitely gives it more of a trendier vibe. I love to style them with basics because it's such a simple but elevated look. If you want to style it with contrast, you can also style with more rugged materials or contrast it in terms of style with something a little bit more edgy, like a vintage tee, for example. So even though lace leans a bit more towards a certain aesthetic, I feel like it still is super wearable in terms of that you can contrast it with different kind of styles to get a super fresh, current, and modern look. Now, moving on to anti-trend number 6, continuing on with this texture theme, we have linen sets, and linen is another texture that is always coming back again and again during the summer, which for me makes it super classic and timeless, like a true staple in any summer wardrobe. Sets especially is super in the summer and has really solidified themselves as the go-to summer uniform. They're minimal, comfortable, and you can wear it together for a matching moment, but you can also wear them separately, which makes it super, super versatile, especially also across multiple different occasions. Like you can wear it on vacation, you could wear it to work at the office, you could wear it casually for a coffee run, or more elevated to a dinner or an event. And one reason I think that linen works so great for so many different occasions is because most sets have super clean and structured lines. So it's not just about the texture and the fabric itself that elevates the look, but it's also the shape and silhouette. Of course, there are some more relaxed linen pieces that look a little bit more lived in, which could also be super cute, especially for a casual look. For me, a linen set is just a great capsule piece if you're building a summer wardrobe with fewer pieces and you really want to make the most out of it. Moving on from textures, we're going into prints. And I've talked about this before, but this summer is really all about classic prints. We're starting off with polka dots, which is a great anti-trend that never really goes out of style. This summer, they're really having a fresh moment. And instead of feeling vintage and overly retro, I feel like they're being styled in so much cooler and unexpected ways. We're seeing them showing up on slip dresses, structured blouses, two-piece sets, shorts. This trend also really aligns well with the bigger movement we're seeing towards playful minimalism, where we're bringing in personality without going too over the top. Kylie Jenner kicked off what many are calling a polka dot summer. Olivia Rodrigo wore it, Sabrina Carpenter, and on the runway we've seen brands like Jacquemus and Celine incorporate polka dots in smaller, more wearable scales. Polka dots is also something that always circles back in fashion, and I think the reason they always stay relevant is because you can style them as playful or as classic as you want. It's trendy, but it won't expire after a season, so you can really wear it over and over again for summers to come. Just style them a little bit differently to make it feel fresh and current. Then next anti-trend is also a print, and that is gingham. Gingham is also one of those timeless patterns that never really goes out of style, but they haven't been as much in the forefront as they've been this year. I feel like polka dots was just instantly there, and gingham have had a little bit of a slow but steady increase. But then especially after Sabrina Carpenter's recent music video, Man Child, I feel like it really solidified it that gingham is the pattern of the season. The current vibe of how to style it though is much more polished and modern. Think more clean, minimal basics, modern silhouettes, which helps to really ground this pattern. Gingham is a little bit of a tricky one because it does feel very nostalgic and vintage-esque. And if you want to style it more current for 2025 without feeling like a picnic blanket, you really need to lean into those clean lines and modern upgrades. But either way, I think that gingham pieces in general could be super versatile to have. It's just all about how you style it to really shift the vibe or the mood. Next, we have yet another classic pattern, which is stripes. So stripes, I would say, is probably the most timeless option. With polka dot and gingham, while they're always kind of on a trend every season, but more in the background, I can see those patterns really hitting their peak this summer and then fading out a little bit before they gain popularity again. While stripes, I feel like are always kind of on the same trending level. So for that reason, in comparison, stripes might feel a little bit boring or basic, but I feel like I have to include it because it is such a great summer staple that is just everywhere, and stripes is usually also trending well into the fall. And again, as I said, I love a trend that you can just adapt to your own personal style and isn't just limited to one specific piece. I think that the beauty of stripes is that they instantly add structure and polish even to a really relaxed and lacy summer look. And I also love how it doesn't feel overly trendy. Hailey Bieber has been wearing lots of stripes lately. Sophia Richie has also been embracing it in her quiet luxury aesthetic. And for Kendall Jenner, it is basically a staple that she always rewears over and over again. Stripes are also super prominent in minimalist aesthetic collections like The Row, Toteme, and Loewe, which are all brands that are kind of leading this minimalist summer aesthetic. Stripes are a true anti-trend that have really existed across all style eras and are still continuing to evolve. They're also seasonless, which is great if you're looking for a solid investment. They flatter, especially vertical stripes, they mix well, and they never go out of style. Lastly, we have anti-trend number 10, which is a color, and that is butter yellow and lemon yellow. So this summer, we've been seeing the resurgence of yellow literally everywhere, and most of the time, I don't really embrace these trending colors unless they are a neutral, but I feel like this more muted yellow tone is kind of like a variation of beige for me, but with a little bit more oomph to it. I don't know how to better describe it, but I have personally wanted to lean in more into color lately, and some of the colors that I would typically lean towards is blue and red. To me, those are just classic colors that work really well for my wardrobe, and yellow is one of those colors that I also feel like could mix really well with someone who loves more of a minimal take on fashion, like myself, for example, versus that super bold Barbie pink, which was trending, was it last summer? I don't remember, but a few summers back. Kylie Jenner's Kylie Cosmetics campaign featured yellow, and so did Hailey Bieber's Rhode campaign. And those campaigns were pretty recent, so I can definitely see this color gain even more popularity and carry well into the fall season, which is always great for versatility. It does have that nice balance between a bold and soft. I feel like it's cheerful, but also not too loud. In fashion, yellow is also always something that circles in and out. This time, it just feels way more wearable, and it's such a fun way to add personality to a neutral minimalist wardrobe. So there you have it. Those were my 10 favorite anti-trends that I have been wearing and will continue wearing this summer. If you have enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And I would also love to see you on my other socials. I have YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and now I also have a podcast that you can find on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and over on Substack, where I often post an extended exclusive portion. For just the price of a Frappuccino a month, you can get access to all of my exclusive content over on Substack. So make sure to check that out through the link in the show notes below. So wherever you are headed next, I hope to see you there or here in the next episode. Bye!